How to detach and not care. The art of letting go. Have you ever felt emotionally drained by other people's actions? Have you ever found yourself obsessing over things you can't control, feeling weighed down by the expectations of others or the need to please everyone? What if you could simply detach yourself from the chaos, find peace, and stop caring so much about the things that drain you? It sounds too good to be true, right? But here's the thing, detaching doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. It's about reclaiming your energy and emotional well-being. It's about creating space for yourself and letting go of the emotional clutter that weighs you down. So, why is detachment so powerful? And more importantly, how can you practice it? Why detach? Imagine this. You're carrying a heavy bag, packed with other people's opinions, expectations, and judgments. Every day, you wake up and add more to the load. Someone's problem, a guilt trip, a need to be liked. Over time, it gets harder to breathe, to walk, and to move forward. That's what happens when you care too much, when you let everything and everyone determine your mood and emotional state. The truth is, we are taught from a young age to care about what others think, about fitting in, about pleasing people. But in doing so, we forget something important. We don't owe anyone our emotional energy. You don't need to be everyone's savior, nor do you need to spend every waking moment worrying about other people's drama. It's exhausting, it's draining, and ultimately, it stops you from being the best version of yourself. Detaching is not about abandoning people. It's about protecting your peace. It's about choosing not to give your energy to things that don't serve you, to things that only leave you feeling empty. It's about understanding that you matter just as much as everyone else. The power of saying no. One of the first steps to detaching is learning how to say no. This word, simple as it is, has the power to free you from the expectations of others. You don't need to explain yourself or apologize for choosing yourself. The more you practice saying no, when something doesn't align with your values or needs, the more you'll feel empowered. Why does saying no matter? Because every time you say yes to something you don't truly want or feel compelled to do, you're sacrificing your own time, energy, and emotional space. And this is where you start to lose yourself. You start to care too much about how others feel, about being liked or accepted, and you forget that your own needs are just as valid. But saying no is more than just turning down invitations or requests. It's a declaration of self-respect. It's you drawing the line, protecting your boundaries, and asserting your right to prioritize your peace. And the more you do it, the less you'll feel guilty or anxious about it. No becomes a tool for self-preservation, not a source of shame. Understanding emotional independence. Let's get something straight. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring about others. It simply means you stop allowing their actions, opinions, or behavior to dictate how you feel. Emotional independence is the key. It's about learning to respond instead of reacting, about standing firm in who you are, regardless of how others behave or what they expect from you. When you're emotionally independent, you stop relying on external validation to feel good about yourself. Your worth doesn't fluctuate with someone's approval or disapproval. You start to understand that you are the only person who can determine how you feel. No one else has the power to make you feel inferior unless you allow it. But how do you achieve emotional independence? It starts with self-awareness. Begin by recognizing when and where you're giving your power away. Are you constantly seeking validation from others? Do you let their criticism affect your mood or self-esteem? Do you often feel drained after interacting with certain people? Once you identify these patterns, you can begin to detach your emotions from these external influences. It's about responding with clarity and confidence instead of being swept up in emotional reactions. It's about making conscious choices that honor your feelings and needs without feeling the need to please or justify yourself. The art of letting go. Let's be real for a moment. Letting go is hard. It's one of the most difficult things you'll ever have to do, especially when it comes to relationships, expectations, or past hurts. But here's the thing, holding on only keeps you tied to the very things that are preventing your growth. It keeps you anchored in the past, in resentment, in anxiety, and in situations that no longer serve you. Detaching is about letting go of the need to control everything around you. It's about acknowledging that you can't change other people's actions, thoughts, or feelings. You can't control the way someone treats you or how they behave. But you can control how you respond, how much energy you give to the situation, and how much power you allow others to have over your emotional state. Start by acknowledging the things that are beyond your control. Is it someone's toxic behavior? A past regret? A missed opportunity? Recognize that you can't undo what's been done. What you can do, however, is release the grip you have on these situations and free yourself from the burden of carrying them around. Letting go also means forgiving, not just others, but yourself. It's about accepting that we all make mistakes, we all fall short, and we all experience pain. But you don't have to let those experiences define you. You can choose to let go of the past and move forward, lighter and more focused on your own peace. Practicing detachment without losing connection. It's important to remember that detachment isn't about isolating yourself or cutting off meaningful relationships. In fact, healthy detachment can strengthen your relationships.
Why?
Because when you're emotionally detached, you can show up as your authentic self without needing validation or approval from others. You're no longer looking to others to fill your emotional void. You're already whole. When you practice detachment, you also learn how to engage in relationships without getting lost in them. You learn how to love and care without being consumed. You learn how to offer support without sacrificing your own well-being. And when you can do that, your relationships become more balanced, more genuine, and more fulfilling. Detachment doesn't mean you care any less. It means you care in a healthier, more sustainable way. You can still show up for others, support them, and be there for them, just without compromising your own mental, emotional, or physical health. And that's what makes detachment so powerful. It allows you to maintain connection while protecting your peace. The final step, reclaiming your energy. As you start to practice detachment, one of the most important things you'll realize is that you are reclaiming your energy. By no longer allowing other people's drama, expectations, or opinions to dictate your emotional state, you free up space for yourself. You free up time and mental space to focus on what matters most to you, your dreams, your growth, and your well-being. You get to decide where you invest it. And once you start protecting that energy, you'll find that you have more clarity, more peace, and more focus. You'll also find that the things that once seemed important, other people's opinions, the need to please, or the fear of rejection, become less and less relevant.